everybody, welcome to my channel. My name's Mel. Thank you so much for joining me today for the 1001 Questions tag. This tag was created by Sandy over at Miss Reads a Lot, and I will link her channel as well as the original video in the description below so you can go and check out her channel and obviously give her a subscribe. I was tagged to do this video by Ellie from Earl Grey Books, so thank you so much for tagging me, Ellie. And also her channel is linked in the description below so you can go and check Ellie out and subscribe to her channel as well. So the idea behind this tag is that we have a bunch of questions and it's all to do with the whole concept of there being 1001 nights, 1001 stories, and it's just taking that concept and running with it and asking questions. Some of them are book related, some of them are not book related, and yeah, let's just dive straight in, shall we? I have all of the questions just here, so yeah, I'll be looking at my phone. Alright, so the first one is 1001 lists. Do you follow any book lists? It can be prize lists or challenges like the Rory Gilmore challenge. Yes, I do. I actually, in fact, follow the Rory Gilmore challenge. The Gilmore Girls is one of my favourite TV shows of all time. I have rewatched it multiple times. I'm actually currently in the middle of a rewatch. One of the prompts in my TBR game, which also is linked below if you want to go and check that out, is mentioned in the Gilmore Girls. So I follow the list. Buzzword does a list all the books that Rory Gilmore read or that is mentioned in the Gilmore Girls. So if you want to go and check that out as well, I will link that down below also. But anyway, yeah, so I follow that list and I have a prompt that gets me to read some books off that list. So yes, I do follow that one in particular. I don't really follow any other ones though. But anyway, yeah, that's the answer. Alright, 1001 books. Approximately how many physical books do you currently own? I think somewhere between 600 and 700. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't gone around and counted all of the books, but I have kind of done a little bit of a, this is how many roughly they fit on this shelf and this is how many shelves have books and so on. So I'd say roughly between those 600 to 700, but like I said, I'm not 100% sure. The next part of this question is how many ebooks do you own? I don't own as many ebooks. I do really enjoy my e-reader, and particularly when I've gone on holidays or something like that, it's great to have an e-reader rather than having to take a bunch of books with you. But I do prefer physical books, not necessarily to read, although I mostly read physical books, but I love collecting books, as I'm sure many of us do, so I do prefer physical books. But I would say probably around 60 or 70 ebooks, I would say. 1001 books read. Approximately how many books have you read in your lifetime? Do you keep track? I have only been sort of officially keeping track of my books, which I do via Goodreads, since I started the channel in 2019. So I don't really know exactly how many books I've read in my lifetime. The other thing is that when I was in my sort of late teens, early 20s, most of the reading that I was doing was rereads. Obviously, that's not to say that I only ever reread, because then I would never have found books to reread, but I would reread a lot of books quite a few times. So it's a bit hard for me to tell. Yeah, I don't really know is the answer to that question. 1001 Arabian Nights. Have you read any stories from the Arabian Nights? Do you have a favourite? If you haven't read it, do you want to? I have not read any of the stories from the Arabian Nights. Yes, I would like to, but I haven't yet. So it's on the, at some point, TBR. 1001 flavours. Do you have a favourite food or flavour? I really love savoury stuff. I mean, it's not to say I don't like sweet, because I do like sweet as well, but I'm definitely more of a savoury person. If I'm at a party or some kind of gathering where there's a bunch of different nibbles, I will gravitate more towards the savouries. So your chips and dips, your cheese, crackers, all of that sort of thing. I don't know if I have a favourite specific food. Cheese is definitely up there though. Definitely love myself a nice cheese. So I really do enjoy like an antipasto platter with like different kinds of cheeses, different kinds of crackers, olives, some sun-dried or semi-dried, sun-dried tomatoes, all of that sort of thing. Absolutely love. That would probably be my favourite kind of food, I think. Yeah. We'll go with that. 1001 pages. Have you read a book that is over 1001 pages? Is there one that you recommend and is worth the time? What is the longest book you have read? I read a lot of big fantasy books, but I'm not 100% sure whether any of the books that I've read are actually in themselves over 1001 pages. So I've read the Robin Hobb Elderling series, and I think the longest of those is around 900 pages. I have read the first 2 volumes of the Way of King series, but because the books that I have are part 1 and part 2 of those books, I've read the Way of Kings, but I read them as 2 separate part 1 and part 2 books, so that doesn't count, even though the actual original book was 1021 or something like that. I think some of the Song of Ice and Fire, Game of Thrones books are getting up there. I don't know whether any of those are over 1001 pages, but they're certainly getting up there, so I'm not 100% sure is the answer to that question, but I may very well have. I just haven't looked to see, but I've definitely read some of the bigger, thicker fantasy tomes that get up to 900 or so pages. And yes, pretty much all the ones that I've just said are definitely worth it. 100% the Robin Hobb Elderling series is worth it. Absolutely amazing. One of my favourite series of all time. The Robert Jordan series, actually some of those might be over 1001 pages. I'm not 100% sure. The Wheel of Time series, definitely worth it. Yeah, so I would definitely say that some of those bigger books are worth it. If you like high fantasy, of course. 1001 buckets. Do you have a non-bookish bucket list? What is one thing on the list? I don't have an official bucket list in the sense that I've actually written down a bucket list anywhere, but I have a travel bucket list, and basically pretty much everywhere is on that list. My partner would really like to go to Russia, and so that was always on my list, but it's now gotten quite a bit higher on the list because that's something we really want to do. I'm pretty sure both of us would love to go back to Japan. I would love to go back to the UK. I lived there for about 3 years, a number of years ago now, and I'd really love to go back. I never went to Scotland, so I'd really like to go to Scotland, and I would love to go to Iceland. Looks amazing, would absolutely love to go to Iceland. Pretty much everywhere. Like I said, most places are on my travel bucket list. 1001 numbers. Do you have a lucky number? Is there a story behind it? I don't. No. Is the answer to that question. 1001 authors. Do you have a favourite author and or genre? My most read genre is definitely fantasy, and I'm talking about anything within that specific umbrella. So urban fantasy, high fantasy, grimdark fantasy, magical realism with fantastical elements, anything like that, portal fantasies, all of that sort of thing. Definitely my most read genre. I would say probably my favourite genre, but having said that, even though I don't read as many historical fictions, I absolutely love historical fiction. I don't read as many contemporaries, and I do like a good contemporary every now and then. I wouldn't say it was my favourite genre because it's definitely one I don't read as often, but I do really enjoy it. But yeah, I think fantasy and then historical fiction are probably my most read and therefore most enjoyed genres. Fantasy I know is a very big umbrella. Within that, I would say 100% high fantasy or magical realism. Oh, and favourite author, I didn't answer that question. I have favourite authors. So Terry Pratchett is a favourite author of mine. Neil Gaiman is a favourite author of mine. Robin Hobb is a favourite author of mine. Laurie R. King is a favourite author of mine. I would say that was probably it. Marion Keyes, perhaps? Yeah, those are my favourite authors, I would say. 1001 activities. Do you have a favourite outdoor activity? I am quite sedentary, I have to be honest, and I don't do a lot of outdoor activity. I really need to change that and do more stuff, but it's not a top priority, I have to be honest. Probably the activity that I do outdoors most often that I most enjoy is walking. But again, that's not something I do as often as I should. But yeah, I would say walking would be the answer. So in the original, Sandy wrote 10 plus 01 friends, tag some friends. And she said, I'm going to tag 10 plus 1 because then it's 1001. Basically tag some people. So who am I going to tag? I haven't really thought this one out. So let's see, who am I going to tag? I'm going to tag Kat from Brews and Reviews. I'm going to tag Steph from Coffee Over Apples. I'm going to tag Steph from Steph's Bookish World. I will tag Victoria from What Victoria Read. I will tag Paige from Pages with Paige. I will tag Crystal from Bond Book Reviews. I will tag Ryan from Book Time with Ryan. I will tag Kaz from Cats and Camera. I will tag Connor from Connor's Library Corner. And who else will I tag? I will tag Mo from Paperback Mo. So that's my 10. And then the extra one, I will tag Lois from Lo Chan Reads. So all of those people are tagged. If you don't want to do this tag, obviously just ignore the tag. If you haven't been specifically tagged by me, but you like the sound of it and you'd like to do it, then I tag you as well. That's it. That's the end of the tag. So please comment below if you have answers that are different or similar, or, you know, just generally what your answers would have been to this tag were you doing the questions. Also comment below just generally if you have anything you'd like to say. If you would like to leave me a comment but you don't know what, then leave me country flag emoji, because that's what we had on the non-bookish bucket list, with lots of different countries I'd like to visit. So leave me a flag emoji. All of my social media details are listed in the description below, so if you'd like to go and follow me on any of those other platforms, please feel free to do so. Thank you so much for watching. I really do hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I would absolutely love it if you would subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. And yeah, like I said, thank you so much for watching. I really, really hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.